Hey there guys, today we're going to be reacting to some real estate videos that you guys would find on YouTube, and I just want to give you my take on them and show you what I'm thinking and what real estate agents have to say about this stuff. These are going to be about real estate market news from Local 4 and NBC News. This one's a local video for you Detroiters out there, and the other ones are going to be about NBC News. These are going to be general real estate videos that you guys commonly see, and I want to give you my take on them. So let's start off with this first one. This is about renovating Detroit neighborhoods, and this is Local 4 News. This is a local Detroit station affiliated with NBC, for those of you who are out of state.
Neighborhoods one home at a time. That's the mission of one man who is going door to door on Detroit's west side to renovate homes that have fallen into disrepair. Well, Malcolm Garrett says there's a ton of potential in a block like this one at Myers and Schoolcraft.
Garrett owns Big Ugly's Home Improvements and works.
Just quickly raise that speed.
With a team of ex-offenders, and they use the work as an avenue to help others while also turning around their lives.
Yeah, Sean Lay joins us now after getting a closer look at this mission. Hey there, Sean.
Worth repeating, guys. His name is Malcolm Garrett. Met him yesterday. Where some people see things that may be too far gone, he is seeing dreams for a family.
And I didn't know that with your hands can become money.
Malcolm Garrett left behind a job.
True. Man, you add value to homes. You make way more money in real estate when you add work. So if you're ever willing to turn these homes into actual homes, you'll make way more money than just a regular investor. Always more money when you add equity or value into a property. So just keep that in mind always.
At Chrysler to work with his hands every day. The hands that rehab homes that look like they can't be saved. But these are major projects.
They are.
Garrett named his home renovation business Big Ugly's Home Improvement.
Like we turn something ugly
Cool.
into something beautiful.
Something ugly into something beautiful.
And if you build up your block, that will actually raise up the value of your block. It gives it a different value. It gives it a different feeling. You know what I mean?
This stretch of Myers on the city's east side looks beyond saving, but Garrett sees saving home after home, saving the block, families moving in. When you see kids out here, people on the porch enjoying, what's that going to be like for you?
It's an unbelievable feeling, you know.
Raises the value of the neighborhood. When you fix up the homes, other people want to invest in it. So he's doing a good job. Kudos to this man right here. He's helping out the city of Detroit.
So I just take it all in stride. I stay humble. You know what I mean? I don't try to outdo nobody. I just stick strictly to what I know. Keep it pushing.
You got some emotions right now, don't you?
Yeah, man, I got it. I just passion, man.
And remember Malcolm Garrett's most important tools, his heart and those hands.
I no longer worry about money. I no longer have to think about where my next meal gonna come from because I still have me. At the end of the day.
These hands also work.
These hands work. These are working hands.
Okay, on to the next one. On to the next video.
This historic home is...
So let's see this one. This is about homeownership costs. This is the national news. This is a report done from NBC National. So let's see how this goes.
Meg Thoman's American Dream.
We bought the house.
Ooh, okay, yeah, maintaining homes. So this is probably about how it costs way more to afford this and keep this home.
In April of 2012. The decking on top.
But skyrocketing costs have also made it a financial nightmare.
How does it make you feel when you see bills like this?
It feels like I can't run on the hamster wheel fast enough.
Either her property taxes or utilities have been going up like hell, and she probably is in a state where they don't have regulated property taxes. In Michigan, we have a 5% increase each year. That's a maximum. And if the other costs could be utilities, repairs, other stuff like that.
One big expense, your mortgage. Rates are at the highest they've been in years. But owning a home...
True. I was telling people, buy in 2023. I'm going to wait for rates to go down. And rates are higher. And even when rates do go down, do you really think that the prices are going to go down when rates go down? Think about this for a second. I want you to think about this. You don't have to be a real estate pro. Right now, there's so little people buying a home, and because of the high interest rates, and prices are still going because there's still enough people to fit this demand, but prices are going up. When interest rates go down, everyone and their mom's talking about how they're going to try to buy a home. You have these many buyers. How many homes are still going to go on market? Not as many. And because of that, you're still going to see a huge increase in prices. So honestly, with these lower interest rate, prices are going to go way higher than the usual. So when you think you win when you're buying with a lower interest rate, but the prices are going to be way higher than it is, that your monthly payment is going to cost way more. Well, that guy who just bought in 2023 with the lower interest rates, or even 2022, they could refinance that loan and they will get a much lower monthly payment. You have people say you don't want to be stuck in the golden jail and all of that, but I'm speaking from Michigan, for example. In Michigan, for the most part, you would be safe in this type of market, unless if you're not investing in some really weird city.
Home includes other expenses too, and those bills are getting bigger.
Guess right.
Insurance is Meg's new pain point, and nationwide, insurance premiums have soared more than 30% in 4 years because of big storm payouts and inflation.
This is very true. Insurance has been going up. In some areas in Florida, they've been dropping certain HOAs or people's homeowners insurance have been being dropped. There's a lot of problems with insurance. I think that is probably going cost right now, and that's probably the most variable cost that you're probably at mercy of still when you own a home.
Meg's shopping around now after her insurer dropped her $3,000 a year policy.
This was the best one at $9,500
Which is triple
a year.
what you used to pay.
Exactly, more than triple.
Another major expense.
What has happened to her home? Has her home got reassessed? Did they find out that it was a messed up home or something? Like, did the area get messed up? Or is she in the hood? Like, what happened that her prices went up, or her insurance went up so high? That's a real good question. You want to know about that.
Property taxes up 4% in a year to more than
4%. I mean, Michigan has the 5% rule. It can be a lot worse. You know, properties go up way quicker than, you know, what the taxes are going up anyways. So it depends on her mortgage payment. Does she have an ARM or is it 30-year fixed?
$4,000 on average. And the biggest money drain, maintenance and repairs, an average of more than $6,500 a year. Right now, Meg.
Okay, well, maintenance and repair would have came in that house regardless of the current market conditions. I just want to make that clear to you guys. It's not because of the market that she has these maintenance repairs. It's going to happen regardless. Probably the cost of them it probably costs a lot more though, so that's one of the big issues.
Meg's getting her roof repaired.
And Meg, once you fix the roof, this is the next project.
We need to replace the entire front porch. I wish we had been able to do it back then because the costs have really skyrocketed since.
Her contractor, Jim LaPointe, says his business is booming, even though he's charging more because costs have never been higher.
These were $77 a box, whereas they were probably 30% less.
Materials have gotten so expensive that the price of building homes or doing maintenance has gone up since COVID. So they're not lying. It is pretty true on this aspect right here.
You know, maybe a few years ago.
But in general, your price inflation in a typical year would be 5 to 7%, and now it's double
Yes,
that.
about that.
All of those rising costs are flipping the owning versus renting equation for many, with Bankrate finding it's now cheaper in all major cities to rent versus buy.
We have some repairs.
So I think this is where people are always like, hey, Jay, look what I saw here. Gotcha. It's always a bad time to buy. And I'm going to tell you this right here. So, yes, technically, monthly payments, it is different. You know, the renting is cheaper than buying right now on a monthly payment versus basis. But when you buy a home, you're buying something to own. When you rent, you're renting. You're not owning someone's home. So if you're planning to settle down somewhere and you want to settle down with your family and move somewhere and live there for a long time, buying could still be a good option, especially if you can afford the prices in your area. The reason I say this is because think about this. If you live here for 10 years, after 10 years, you have paid towards your ownership and your property value's probably gone up over that time. You could probably sell it and get some good money out of it while you move to your next home. But if you're renting in that home and you stay there for 10 years, never owning a home, you would have had no money come back to you. All that monthly payments that you pay go straight to your landlord. It didn't go anywhere else. It probably went to his mortgage payment. Whereas if you had the mortgage payment, maybe in the first year or 2 or 3 years, your monthly payment is way higher than the rentals. But that rentals can change within those time. Rentals can change rents. Your mortgage payment, if you got a 30-year mortgage, your mortgage payments would stay the same. With the exceptions of like these insurance things, which they can go up over time. But for the most cases, you will have a fixed, stable payment. So when you are when we're talking about the long run, buying is still going to be better than renting. But yes, on a monthly payment basis, it is cheaper to rent. Historically, it's been cheaper to buy than rent in many areas. So that's why you used to hear this a lot, because in that scenario, way back then, buying was a win-win. You could live there temporarily and you could still buy and then sell it out later and you would still be paying less than renting. But that's not the case anymore. if you plan to stay for a long time, then buying is a good option. And if you're an investor, buying is always an option. To find a deal that makes sense where you can rent it out and pay off your mortgage, you probably will have to add value to your property, like rehab, fix up stuff.
And the soffits that need to happen.
But Meg still loves her home.
I'm so thankful that we have one because I have a lot of friends and coworkers who are really struggling to get into the market.
Christine Romans, NBC News.
Yeah, and she loves her home, and it seems like she can still afford them. But in this situation for her, if there was someone like her and they feel like they can't afford the payments and they're underwater, in those type of situations, depending on how much you owe or own on the property and what the value of it is, you should probably try to sell it. You probably could get it for a good value unless the house is deteriorated in a bad condition since you bought it. Other than that, though, you probably should sell the home so you can get rid of that payment. Your mortgage lenders can always help you with that if you really can't make the payments. There's a lot of options out there for people who are struggling to make their mortgage payments each month. But selling it probably could get rid of your burdens. You probably could downsize something smaller. Maybe buy something newer so you're not always having to repair stuff. You know, it's sometimes nice to buy these homes, and if you had originally planned to fix it up, it could be a good opportunity to make money, but sometimes you could be in over your head. So, you know, if you don't necessarily buy a project home if you're not ready for it, especially if it's your own home. For investments and rental, it's a different story, right? You're buying those properties to add value in them, so you're trying to make money, but yeah, man, I don't know. If you're stuck in this type of situation, you can't afford it, which seems like she can, but if you can't, I would just sell the home or talk to your lender or talk to someone that can help you with paying this off. Let's go to the next video now. This one's about the home buyer index. NBC is going to be talking about the affordability here. Let's see what they have to say.
Well, let's stay on the topic of money. With interest rates high and home prices at record levels, it seems harder than ever to buy a house these days. And now there are new numbers to back that up.
And there's a new NBC News brand called the Home Buyer Index that measures the difficulty people are facing beyond just interest rates and home prices. NBC News business and data correspondent Brian Chung is here to break it all down for us. So, Brian, how difficult is it to buy a home in this market, and how does this new index work?
Hey, Zinkley, we know that buying in this market is not easy at all, but now for the first time, we have a home buyer index that quantifies that. So check this out. Again, this is going to factor in the obvious factors when it comes to buying a house, the mortgage rate, how much it's going to cost you.
It is true. You know, people have said rates have gone down, but the average rates have, you know, it's around the same, depends on the area, who's your lender, but this is kind of accurate. Median home prices have gone up overall in the general run. Despite these high rates, you're still seeing a lot of people buy homes for whatever the inventory is on the market, so prices were being pushed up still. Yeah, if you bought in 2023, high interest rates, bro. Prices are higher now and rates are higher. Even if rates go down, these prices are going to go up higher. Matter of fact, if rates go down, I would argue this 433 might be like 490, honestly. It's going to go much faster when the rates go down. With these high rates, the prices have been still going up. You should look at it that way. So when they go down, it's going to be higher. So if you bought like at this time here, you might have thought you bought at the worst time, but looking back in hindsight now, your home's worth more and they're higher rates, and eventually you can always refinance these to get the lower rates when the lower rates come. So it's not like, oh, once I get the high rate, I'm stuck with this high rate forever. You can always switch it out later into a lower rate. It's called refinance.
To borrow 7% now compared to 6.4% in 2023. It was around 2 to 3% in 2020. But during that time, the median price of a home also went up from $408,000 to $433,000. But there are other factors, as people know, when it comes to buying a home. What does your income look like? What's your employment status? What is the competitiveness in buying in your area? Well, the NBC News Home Buyer Index tries to quantify this into one metric. It
is one of the most hardest times to buy a home historically in general. Compared to most times in America, it's been hard. The affordability is so low. Incomes have not went up compared to what incomes were just even 10 years ago. You know, like people who graduated college and starting pay was around 50 to 70K. I'm still seeing a lot of starting pay being around 50 to 80K. Like, it's been 10 years, so a lot of pay has just not been going up as properly. And this is like just a income inequality thing that we're, in general, that's kind of tied into.
Ranks it on a scale of 0 to 100, the 100 being the most difficult. And as of April, the last read, it's at 82.4. That is near all-time high, guys.
So, Brian, I know it depends where you live, too, right, in the country. So when you use this index, where do you find is easiest or hardest to try to buy a home?
And our fantastic data team, which has put this tool online, allows you to look at a county level. Super cool stuff. So we can actually parse out.
Iron County is a rural county, so it's like in the middle of nowhere. It's like a farm county, so I mean, it's not like a bad county. It's a farm one.
The most difficult versus the least difficult counties. That's specific. Garfield, Routt, Mesa County in western Colorado. Those are ski town areas. Not necessarily a surprise that it's pretty competitive to get a house in those areas. The
ski town neighborhoods, yeah. Like everyone and their mom wants to buy an Airbnb there and try to like overinvest in that area, and the prices go up. These type of areas are going to go up crazy. Least difficult. They're rural counties. Nobody wants to live them anyway, so like you're gonna have way less demand. So it's just pretty easy to sell a home, buy a home there. Selling a home is a bit harder, and you're not gonna get as much advantage because there's barely any buyers.
Least difficult areas in the heartland, a lot of rural counties as well, Kentucky, Arkansas, also Michigan. But look, we can take a look at the overall picture on a national map. You can see the deeper green areas are going to be more difficult than the
all the populated areas are harder, and the ones that are white are the areas that are not populated.
Lesser green areas, according to the NBC News Homebuyer Index. And again, you're looking at areas like New York and also Southern California, but also check out these battleground states, Arizona, Michigan, and Wisconsin as well. That'll be
not gonna lie, I'm surprised there's still white in California though. Maybe these are very like mountainous areas, but yeah, I'm surprised that there's white in California.
Flashpoint for the election coming up later on this year.
Brian, briefly, any sign that this is all going to get better anytime soon?
Well, forecasts are not for mortgage rates to substantially dip below 7%, which is where they're at right now, which means there might not be a lot of reprieve for people who have already been iced on the side of this housing market.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, I mean, Ray, we don't know when rates are going to go down. People say it's going to be 2024. I personally believe it's going to be around 2024, but these are one of those things where you actually shouldn't necessarily take my word always on. It's like predictions and stuff like this. Interest rate predictions is one of those things where no one knows. No one knows. Whoever knows would be a millionaire. You can try to go off estimates. Now, if you really want to have a better idea how to decide what inflation goes off, you want to look at the inflation. If you really want to understand how interest rates work and how they base it off, you want to look at how inflation goes in this country. There's stuff called the CPI data, and based off that stuff, they decide if we need to raise interest rates or not, or keep them high. Interest rates are used to control the inflation because interest rates control the speed of money. It's a very short, simplistic terms I'm explaining it in, but no one can really predict it. I'm guessing at the end of this year or within this year, but it could be next year also. But when those interest rates go down, I'll just say this for real estate, prices are going to go way higher in housing. So you might get a lower interest rate, but you're paying a much higher payment, which could be still more than that lower priced home with the high interest rate payment. So you just got to think about that for a second. If you plan to settle somewhere for a long time and you've been thinking about that, but interest rates are your motivator, you really shouldn't have interest rates as your motivator. You should be buying a home regardless of that. Look at the pricing and your affordability in that neighborhood. Now let's go to the next video.
Erica Bellet and her husband began shopping for a home in 2020.
Do you want to go pick a book?
4 years, 2 babies, 1 dog, and 8 rejected offers later, they are still in a rental.
I don't think that we anticipated 5 years into our marriage we'd still be renting.
They want to stay near.
8 offers rejected? In some markets, people have to be submitting 10, 15. I've submitted offers that are like 11, 12. And how long have they been looking?
Their suburban began shopping for a home in 2020.
Do you want to go?
2020. 8 offers so far. It sounds like a lot, but yeah, in this market, you're going to have to do way more than that. If you've been looking for a home since 2020 and you only had 8 offers rejected, you have not been submitting enough offers. I have seen us, in some of these showings, in some of these markets, we had to submit 3 to 4 offers in a day and a couple times to get going. My friends, we were looking for 3 weeks, we submitted 4 offers within 3 weeks. So I don't know their situation, their family situation, but you got to be looking way more if you're trying to look for a home. 8 offers since 2020. It's 2024, so that's 4 years. You probably looked at very few homes, and you probably submitted offers a couple times. It's not going to work out in the long run. And I'm pretty sure these people are one of those people where they're like, oh, I don't want to submit, or I didn't get the pre-approval. I don't want to judge. I don't want to be mean. But I'm just saying 8 offers in 4 years in this type of market, that's not a lot. It's kind of common. You got to go very aggressive, especially if you're trying to look for a home, a family home. This is a family right here, okay? Like, this is a family right here. These people are definitely looking for a home in an area where everyone else is trying to look for. This is not, they're not looking for some multifamily property. They're not looking for some rehab Detroit property. They're looking for some home straight up from like Novi, looking for some home in Northville. They're looking for some home in some nice suburban city where the prices are already high and people are going high demand. So you need to be actively looking. Homes go in and out and quick in the market. And if they're probably not from Michigan. I mean, this is national news, so they're definitely looking in a high demand area. I'm just guessing now, this is stereotyping, I guess, but you need to be looking way harder, if especially the type of homes they're looking for. There's a lot of people like them competing with them. A lot of families with 2 kids and a dog.
Home in 2020.
Do you want to go pick a book?
4 years, 2 babies, 1 dog, and 8
2 babies. Okay, look, see, I want to give them that break there. You know, you just had children, so it can be harder. I'm I'm not trying to say they're bad people. They're not doing a good job. But I'm just gonna say in 4 years, 8 offers is very little. You know, the market doesn't care that you have children. That's my thing. And I don't have children. I'm single. I'm 24 years old. But you know, it's true. You know, when I'm trying to buy a home, I don't care. You know, when someone's trying to buy a home, they don't care about the other mom and dad who's trying to buy a home. It doesn't matter, and you gotta understand that. But yeah, having 2 children makes it a lot harder to look for homes, especially with the newborn. You know, you have to take care of that kid all the time. Maybe when that kid gets 1 or 2 years old, it gets a little bit easier to do that home searching, right? Because the kid can at least run around or do things a little bit on his own, not like fully, but you don't have to constantly hold the baby and baby him.
Rejected offers later, they are still in a rental.
I don't think that we anticipated 5 years into our marriage we'd still be renting.
They want to stay near their suburban New Jersey town. Their families are close by. The drive to work is short, but
The prices of the houses, plus those high interest rates, really make it just unrealistic to be able to afford what it will cost you monthly to own a house.
a new NBC News homebuyer index.
New Jersey. New Jersey's very expensive. It's expensive as hell to get into New Jersey. And if their income's not up there, yeah, it's unfortunate. They might not be able to own a home real quick, or you're going to have to find some deals. I mean, I'm not the real estate agent. I don't know their situation, but if the prices are super high, one of your options could be to buy a home that needs renovations. It seems hard. It seems like a lot of work, but you can always try to talk to a few contractors, see what they do, and they can get it work done itself. It's worth a shot to look at it that way too. Sometimes in those type of markets or situations, if they're really expensive. That's how personally I would approach a market. If I'm in an area where it's very expensive, I would approach something where it needs some work so I can get it at a much cheaper price, add some value. But the reality might be that you might not be able to get in. But especially in an area like New Jersey, suburban New Jersey. New Jersey is a small state, so we could just assume near New York, at least near the middle, Newark or, Edison or some area like that. But yeah, you're gonna have to be looking at homes real quick. Like, this is probably a market where homes will go on market and sell within a day or two. So you're gonna have people submitting offers like hell, and if you really want to be successful in that type of market, you gotta be looking like every day. You gotta be on Zillow. You gotta listen to your realtors' emails or phone calls. If they send you a property and they tell you we gotta look at it, we gotta look at it real quick. In my experience, I've had a few families. I'm not trying to say that they're to blame, but they took their time to look at homes. Look, I understand you have a child, but it gets hard. These homes are going to be on and off in the market, and there's going to be someone else there, a single or solo couple without children, or just some dude that has no wife or children or girlfriend that's going to come in and buy the home on the day of. Some of these homes I've seen, especially in my neighborhoods, my city, Novi, on the first day of showing, there's already 20 showings going on that property. In those type of situations, you don't have that luxury of, let's wait till 3 days later and let's look at this home. You don't have that luxury. Someone's going to submit an offer within that time. It's just going to be the honest reality in that situation. You got to be a lot more attentive and looking for homes. You got to be looking hardly, and you got to be looking every day. And if you can't afford the prices in your area, yes, you might be stuck renting. You might have to figure out some more creative ways that might not fit for your family. But if it depends now on how bad you want to own a home. You know, you might have to house hack. You might have to get some like rental unit with it. You might have to go to a different city, move to a different area. And if those are not the options, then you might just have to rent out or figure out some creative living situation where maybe you share a home with another family, right? I've seen a situation where one family, they bought a 7-bedroom home. It was 2 brothers and their wives and their children living in a home together. And I mean, it kind of worked out. They eventually moved on their own, but it was 2 brothers living in the same house together, both their families. And both of them had kids, and I mean, all their basically cousins living together. It is a possible thing. I've seen it happen, and it's a creative way to, you know, afford sometimes a house in a certain city or neighborhood. The city that they lived in, it was one of those mega suburbs where they only had like those really big houses. They as a family could not afford it, but they wanted to send their children to that school district, so they decided to buy those homes with both brothers together. It's an option. Now, you have to be a little bit creative if you're in those type of markets, or else you might just be stuck renting. It's a hard situation, and I mean, look, this is why we need more affordable housing so we can bring these prices down and deregulate how we can build homes. You know, build more urban landscapes now. Don't just build these suburban horrid towns. Build more walkable cities. Build more townhomes, apartment complexes. Increase the number of units available for people so the prices can go down and the demand can be spread through.
Shows across the U.S. since 2022, it's been harder to buy a home than any other period in the last decade.
The index accounts for factors like median home sale prices, which over the last year are up 6%. Mortgage rates also climbing to around 7% for a 30-year fixed, but also accounts for available inventory. Still tight, but getting a little better, up almost 13% nationwide.
It's a little bit better. That could push prices a little bit lower, but again, mortgage rates are higher, so it costs more, and there's still many buyers out there. There's still many families like these guys right here where they need to get a home. There's so many of them. Regardless of rates, they need to find a home. So you're going to be competing with a lot of these people here, and there's not enough homes. And when the rates go down, inventory is going to go up, but there's going to be a lot more buyers too. The question is, there's probably going to be a lot more buyers than still how many sellers come out on the market when the rates go down.
The NBC News Homebuyer Index grades the overall difficulty of home buying on a scale from 0 to most difficult, 100. In April, that measure was 82.4, near an all-time high.
All-time high? Yeah, it's true. We're having one of the historically hardest times to buy a home.
The average home is almost $70,000 more than the average household can afford. Households like the Bellets.
It just doesn't feel like a reality right now.
Not of your own doing, but because
in that situation, now it could be real. I don't know their situation. You might have to save for a longer down payment, so you might be renting for longer. You might have to move in family or something like that. You have to put a higher down payment if that's the case. It sucks. It gets harder. I mean, owning a home is a lot harder than what it was, and it's becoming shittier for us, for Gen Z, millennials. Look, as a real estate agent, I'm not here to like defend that. Like, oh, it's okay. That's how it's supposed to work. But it's a reality. The only way we can fix this is more affordable housing and rising wages. You know, we need those things to happen, and those things are not happening. And it's a systemic issue for all people right now, just in general, not real estate, but you know, wealth inequality is at one of its all-time highs, and you have people making less money than what they were back in the day. And this is what you get. You get these type of situations where you get these late-stage capitalism type situations where properties are going up very high, and now the regular man can't afford these, and we're getting pushed out of land. I'm getting very political here, but this is how late-stage capitalism is supposed to work out.
Because of just the state of the housing market.
Correct. I think if we could, we would have been in a house 4 years ago.
Experts say the housing market is unlikely to ease up for buyers anytime soon. Forecasts predicting mortgage rates will likely...
Yeah, the situation is terrible. It's fucked for people like her, and it's going to be harder and harder. It's going to get harder. I can tell you this. I'm not saying this as real estate. I'm saying this as a Gen Zer myself. This stuff is going to get harder. The economy is going to get harder. Jobs are going to go down. We don't even know if wages are going to go up as high as inflation has been going still. And, you know, due to this, you're going to have probably pricing go way up. People will be able to afford less, and you'll have a higher stage of inequality. In her situation, what she can do, because, you know, complaining about the inequality is not going to fix her situation. They're a family. They need a home. you need to submit more offers. You need to go look at more homes. You really need to. I know that it sounds very easy for me to say it right here, but 8 offers in 4 years is also not a lot. And I understand you have kids, but you're competing with people who don't have kids. You're competing with people who are just fiance and fiance. Like, you're with people who are just engaged. You're with people who are just a couple. You're people who are single. Like, these people will be looking way more quicker. Like, so you have to realize you're in competition with them. And if you want to survive or get a home before prices even go up harder, you're gonna have to look a lot more aggressively. It's the reality here.
Remain close to 7% through the end of the year, leaving potential buyers waiting even longer for that dream home. Brian Chung, NBC News, Lincoln Park, New Jersey.
I mean, that newborn baby is hard to take on a home showing, but you can now take a kid like that age. A kid that age, you can easily take on a home showing. It's not like, unless you're going to some like Detroit rehab home where there's nails sticking out at any corner. If you're a parent, because I've seen clients make it work with their children, and like they have a dog, they just take the kid with them. Now, newborn babies are hard, okay? I get it. You need to carry them. They might cry randomly, but a kid that age, probably it's like 3, 4, you can take it. So if you're a family with those young kids, don't use your kids as an excuse. Honestly, if you're if you can't get a home, especially if they're like that age, if they're especially like 4 years old, 3 years old, they can do that. You gotta be more creative and more comfortable. I'm not blaming this family specifically. I'm just saying in general, because many of you probably have a similar situation or are gonna be in a situation like this, or something like this, and you're just wondering what my take is. And you just gotta be very cutthroat and aggressive in this market.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah. So, well, that's it. If you have any videos you want me to react to at all, you can always send them to me down. I'm trying to do this as a new series now, where I will be reacting to real estate videos on YouTube to be a trending thing. I have not been seeing as many realtors react to these videos. Maybe it's because of copyright. We will find out. I'm not monetized yet on a channel, so I don't have to worry as much about this. I see only TikTok videos being reacted to, so, maybe this could be a first new thing. If you have anything for me to react to, even TV shows or anything like that that are real estate related, I will do that for you. If you have any questions about real estate owning or rentals or investing, feel free to contact me, DM me, or comment below. Thank you guys for watching, and you guys have a great day.